So I was running an errand and reflecting back on the year 2017, and I was thinking of all the things that I went through and what were some of the benefits that I received from some of the negative aspects, and which ones I could share with other people to hopefully give them a boost in their ascension process. And I think I narrowed it down to one that's really, really quite powerful and that I use regularly. This has to do with the heart field and the heart, the power of the heart and the heart field, and human emotion and intention. So I'm going to tell you a little story that might get a little hardcore, but I have to tell you this story because the full story, because you won't properly understand what I'm trying to tell you if I don't. So back in early February of 2017, I was working for a large car auction, and I was in the repo department. So I was around a lot of negative energies quite consistently. A lot of people were using drugs in the business, including uppers and downers, but mostly uppers. And I had just quit heroin at the time, and I wasn't fully clean yet. I was still taking methamphetamines occasionally. And anyway, one day, on auction day, I was hit with an overwhelming amount of anxiety. It was more so than I have ever experienced in my entire life. And things were going really wrong at work. And anyway, I was just being put in really on the spot situations, because our team was under surveillance constantly from the management. So I had gotten to work, and I had a bunch of work to do on my plate, and I was then notified that there was a big old meeting in a couple hours, and essentially it was going to be about how we need to work more and we're pieces of shit, because they never recognized the effort we did. But anyway, so this gave me a bunch of anxiety too, and not to mention the work I had to do that was very much in the public sector. I had to drive these motorcycles and these cars through a gauntlet of hundreds of people, and they would all be staring at me and talking to me, and I had to keep a straight face. And at the time, I was still detoxing off heroin and on methamphetamines, okay? So I had a massive amount of anxiety. And so I tried something intuitively that just came to me while I was sitting in a vehicle getting ready to run through that gauntlet of people. And hopefully you can take something away from this that will help you, because that's the whole point of this story. As I was sitting there, something told me to start breathing through my heart and to hold an emotion, any emotion I wanted, and that just by me thinking of this emotion and amplifying it with my intention through my heart, that I would then become enveloped in the energy of this emotion that I had chosen. So I chose love, okay? And I just forced myself, even though my hands were shaking and my mind was going crazy. When I was sitting there in that vehicle, staring at the other line of cars in front of me and the hundreds of people all over the place, I just closed my eyes and I started breathing through my nose, in peace, and then exhale out love. And I thought of the emotion of love. I thought of a time that I remembered feeling love, and then I held that emotion, just love, and I exhaled that breath and expanded that emotion throughout my whole body. And I kept doing this for about 5 to 10 minutes, and I shit you not, I felt extremely euphoric, not in an intoxicated sense. I was just essentially in love. That's what it was. I felt amazing. All my anxiety went away. I kept doing this throughout the day, and when the time came to go to that high anxiety meeting, my coworkers were all nervous because there's my multi-million-dollar boss and his assistants there essentially chewing us out. And the whole time, I sat there with a smile on my face, okay, like a grin, answered every question calmly, talked slowly and surely, and everyone was kind of dumbfounded at why I was in such a good mood. In fact, my boss probably took it as me being a smartass, but that wasn't the case. The case was what had happened was that I tapped into the power of my heart field, okay? And this is the power of attention to intention. That's my little hashtag I created. Because you have the power of attention, which is your mind, and then your intention, which is your heart. So when you put the two together, you can create anything, okay? So that's just the way it works in duality, the male aspect, analytical, female aspect, intuitive. Together, those two energies create the trinity of spirit or creation. So I want you to try this with yourself. Think of any desired emotion, hopefully positive one. Hold it bring it out of the ether with your mind, and then pull it into your heart. Feel it there and amplify that emotion with your breath and see what happens. And I think that you will be very amazed, all right? This is all I want to share today, all right? Love and light.